play, The Wonder of You, written by Bara Swain, directed by Bob Schwoch.
Hey, mister. It's a free country. I said it's a free country. You can sit down if you want.
Oh, thanks. Me?
You look tired. Or lost. Are you lost, mister?
I don't want to, invade your space.
This is DeKalb County. Not gonna happen. I don't take up much space. Do you smell that? The most beautiful fragrance in the world.
The magnolia trees?
You're not from around here, are you? There are no magnolia trees at Magnolia Pine. Henry says suburbias where the developers bulldoze all of the trees and name the streets after them. But if you head northeast towards Doraville, the sugar maple and white pine line the sidewalks like old friends. My mother loved pine trees. Log lollies, free samples, level lower blinds, 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner, and any movie with Colin Firth. Do you know how many times I watched Love Actually? 12 times. Well, strictly speaking, a baker's dozen.
13.
If you count the last time. It was dubbed in Spanish. In Spanish. I'm not kidding. Or some, random cable station. And it was just unsettled. Like a real disconnect. Verging on creepy, Like those freeze-dried bottled ticks at the U.S. National Tick Convention in Collection Statesboro. 1 million specimens of blood-sucking bugs. Henry finds it fascinating, but I don't seem to get traction. Do you? Can't wait to pick on. Habla Espanol, mister?
Unfold.
Me too. Un poco. Anyway, I don't think my mother noticed. Spanish, Burmese, Mandarin. It could have been broadcast in Swedish, and I don't think she would have noticed. And Henry, my stepdad Henry, he was nowhere to be found for the entire 136 minutes. Another disconnect. A baker's dozen. We'll maintain more. That was the last time my mother and I watched Colin Firth declare his undying love for his housekeeper. Hands down my favorite scene, and everyone lived happily ever after. Everyone except Mom, me, and Henry. And that, senor, that was a year ago today.
Are you going to cry in this?
Tears may soothe the wounds they cannot heal. What cannot be said will be wept. Sad. But no, I'm not going to cry. I choose never to cry again. I choose to bask in the most glorious moment in the world. You smell that?
I'm sorry?
Hash browns, mister. Smothered in grilled onions and chunks of heavily smoked ham. You haven't lived until you tried hash browns in the Waffle House. I worked my last shift this morning.
On Peachtree Boulevard?
Nope, Decatur. Started the first Waffle House, 1955. Hey, I thought you said you weren't from around here.
Well, I knocked around these parts when I was a kid. Met a gal at Keswick Park. We were young. Love at first sight.
So you're from Chambly, too?
No, I was raised in Dunwoody. Moved there when, it's hearsay, but the day I cut my first tooth.
Just a baby?
Yep. My dad had some trouble with the law. Wheel and tire stuff, that kind of thing. He liked cheap boxed wine, peach cobbler, and cheap women, my mother said. That's all I really know about him. So when he sold some lawn equipment from our neighbor, hedge clippers and a power mower, also hearsay, we left. Moved in with my grandmother in Dunwoody. Nice place. Great library, good schools. I like school. Graduated from the same high school as that television boss, Ryan Seacrest. Who'd have thought that the guy who was voted best dressed at Dunwoody High would become a national phenomenon? Pretty weird, right?
Bigger things than that, mister. The Saturday before last, Henry took me to the Loudermilk boarding house and everything Elvis museum, and it's like a shrine to the king. Voted the best Elvis experience on this side of Memphis. Poor Henry, he sang Love Me a Tender and You Give Me Hope to Carry On.
The Wonder of You.
Yeah! It's just over and over. Through 5 rooms of memorabilia. Whiskey decanters, and Elvis postage stamp bedspread, and get this, the maybe Elvis toenail. Talk about weird, right?
So your stepfather, he's an Elvis fan?
Not really. Mom and Henry went to Memphis for their honeymoon. They dragged me along, but I don't really remember it. I remember missing a week of kindergarten, though, and I loved school, too. But actually, I was accepted at Georgia State in the fall, but I'm not sure if I I'm going. Henry bought me a secondhand car for graduation, and it's an easy commute from Decatur. That's where we moved after middle school, and Mom. Well, it was closer to the Winship Cancer Institute. Mister, do you ever think of magical thinking?
Sure have. I'm inclined to practice it myself.
See, the year we moved to Decatur,
How old were you?
14, and it was, don't make fun of me, okay? But it was the last time I could go to the daddy-daughter dance. That's the annual semi-formal one for girls in 8th grade or younger, and their fathers, daddy-daughter, daughter-daddy, right? But even though the grandfathers and uncles are also welcome. And Henry loved that night. He always wore his blue suit. He only had one. And he washed the car in the morning, even though it was February and cold, like really cold. And Henry'd come back inside and his fingers would be a few shades lighter than his dress shirt. My mom warmed them in her own pits. It was part of the tradition. Then Henry would go on and on about the menu. It was always Italian food. Henry called it Italian. I wonder what kind of Italian food they're serving this year. And now comes the bad part.
How bad would it be?
Oh, it's very bad. It's bad. Because instead of joining him for the line dancing, Henry loved the electric slide, but instead of eating lasagna and picking the green peppers out of the salad, because he hates peppers, I spent the entire night standing at the entrance of the Chambly Civic Center in suede leather pumps Henry bought me for the occasion, looking. I know it's magical thinking, mister, but I was looking for my father. I thought maybe, just maybe, that he'd show up. And the funny thing is, I don't even know what he looks like, or I don't know anything about him, except for what my mother told me, and that wasn't much. But I figured I'd recognize him anyway, you know? He's my dad.
And moving to Decatur?
It was his last chance to find me, a chance of a lifetime. Magical thinking. And I guess I know I hurt Henry's feelings too, standing all night in that doorway in my new slingbacks that I didn't deserve, ditching him like that. But Henry never said a word. And the next day he gave me 2 SpongeBob Band-Aids for my toes. Mother asked me, where'd you get those blisters? And before I could answer, Henry said, we danced the night away.
You're lucky. He's a good father.
A stepfather. What's wrong, mister? Are you feeling okay? We can move into some shade if you'd like. The afternoon sun can get pretty intense in these parts. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. That's what Henry always says. You gotta take it easy during the hottest parts of the day.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
It could be heat exhaustion, mister. Happens to the best of us. There's no shame in it.
Thank you. I got a lot to be ashamed of, miss. That's what brought me back to Chambly. It's been a long time.
Waiting in Walmart's 1-hour photo center is a long time, mister. Define long.
Well, let's see. Graduated from Dunwoody.
You haven't been back since high school?
No, not exactly. I knocked around that summer after graduation. Did odd jobs for my grandmother. She spoiled me. Oh yeah, spent the rest of the year shooting hoops at Keswick Park and romancing my gal. It was harder when I started USC that fall. Tried to make it down every weekend to visit. Slacked off on my studies. Pretty disappointed in myself. Dropped out in the middle of my second semester anyway when I got my gal in trouble. If you know what I mean. Big trouble with a capital T. Didn't tell a soul except my grandmother. She took it to the grave with Rhia. She went fast. I'm grateful for that. My mother, she was dating a guy from Atlanta, and neither of them were too interested in me. So nobody asked any questions when I quit college and took a job at the Frito-Lay plant. Until that closed. Saved some money. I wanted to do the right thing, to be responsible. Yep, I was young. About the same age as you. What are you, 19?
18. And a third.
About that age. On my last day of work, I had a fender bender on account of Bud Light, that is. Passed out on the floor. Hardly room in the bed for me, anyway. My pint-sized gal was wired in a tree trunk. 8 months pregnant and all. The next morning, I packed a bag, about the same size as the one you're carrying now. Headed to the airport and boarded the next plane out of here. I so regret it. Deeply, very deeply.
Remorse is the poison of life.
Henry say that too?
Emily Bronte. So why are you here, mister? What are you doing in Chambly?
Well, my wife and I, my wife that is, she's expecting her first in a couple of weeks.
Well, that's good news, right?
And I want to be a good parent, a good father, but he keeps gnawing at me. Can't shake off this feeling that I'm not going to do right by her. I mean, how will my daughter ever trust me when I kill my firstborn? How will Sugar feel safe?
You having a go?
Yeah, and I thought if I could only find my love child, maybe I can earn that trust from the both of them. Natural thinking, right? The meeting here you like this, it gives me more confidence that my young'un is safe and loved and being taken care of. Buddy Henry takes care of you.
He's not my father.
I heard you the first time, miss. But I can tell you this. If I could be half the father to my little girl that Henry is to you, I'd be a proud and happy man.
You don't know anything at all, mister, and I don't want to talk to you anymore, okay? I think you should leave.
That's something I'm good at. I don't want to intrude, miss.
Name 5 things you know about your father.
What?
I said name 5 things you know about your...
You gotta be kidding me.
You're stalling. I
I'm not.
think you're stalling.
No, I'm not.
You don't know one thing about him, sis. You don't know if he's a thief or he likes green peppers or...
Pie. My father liked frozen blueberry pie.
That's one thing. You know hundreds of things about Henry. What did he do that you can't forgive him for?
I'm not listening to you. You don't know what you're talking about.
We're not talking about me. I asked you to name 5 things that you know about your father.
He wore a lucky red bandana, okay? Okay? He never took it off. Stop looking at me like that.
That's 2 things.
He loved my mother.
I'm sure he did.
He loved my mother.
I don't doubt it.
So,
That's 3 things.
so why did he leave me?
I can't answer that, sis. I wish I could.
If he loved us so much, why did he leave me? I kept calling for him. Just Henry, Henry. And the movie, it kept playing. And Henry, I need you. And she was hardly breathing by then. And the credits are playing. And her hands were colder than a February in Boston. Where was he for 136 minutes? Huh? You tell me that. Where was he when I needed him most? When my mother drew her last breath, where was he then? Go away. Go away.
I didn't mean you any harm. I never want to cause you harm.
Stay. Mister, please stay. My father wasn't there for my entire lifetime, but I forgive him. Why can't I forgive Henry?
I don't know. But I can sit with you for a while, if you'd like. Maybe we can figure it out together.
No, I think it's okay. I think I'm going to be all right. Besides, don't you have a plane to catch?
Yeah, that I do. You're sure you're okay?
Hey, mister? Did you pick out a name for your baby?
Well, my wife is still on the fence, but I think I can win her over because I'm so charming. I am. But I always wanted to name a daughter Sarah Lee.
Why?
Well, you know, everybody doesn't like something, but
Nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. It's a good name. It's a memorable name. I hope she was in good health, Senor.
thank you, Chica. And thank you for the water. You might want to find some shade